Welcome everyone to episode 9.
Nine.
All right.
I think honestly the whole like naming the episode number at the beginning is gonna have to stop eventually because we've recorded 2 episodes that will never see the light of day now. So
We've got some in the draft.
Like, where is that episode?
Yeah. Check out our second channel for some hidden content.
yeah, join the Patreon.
Yeah. All right. So we're here with once again the brother, the one and only Parker fucking Scott, and we're also here with Spencer. Spencer's last name is Walters. There we go. I asked him 10 seconds before we started, and it's on my mind again. And your one and only Calvin Vergowan. Y'all know me. Welcome everyone.
The boy in the baby blue gogs.
Yeah, I also go by Balvin to some of you guys.
Balvin of the bass.
Yeah, word. So we're here for another episode after a bit of a wait. As we said, we did record a few episodes, planning on weekly uploads, but those ones could not be put anywhere.
We've recorded. This would be the 4th episode we've recorded in the last 4 weeks, and only 2 of them were. You know, that's based on this one going up, right?
even episode 8 was like, there was nothing bad about it, like vulgarity wise. It was just a pretty trash podcast.
It was a pretty trash podcast.
I felt bad about the content quality after that one. I was like,
Me too.
that one was rough.
There were some good stories in there.
There were some
overall it was just a little bit
underwhelming.
Not up to snuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, we recorded an episode like a couple days before, and when it's just you and I, it's like it's hard when we haven't prepared topics, and we're just like, I guess we'll just shoot the shit for 2 hours. Yeah, like it's it's difficult to like pump out that to still keep it quality and pump out like that frequency of material. So, yeah. How's everyone doing? What's going on in the lives of our friends today?
I'm feeling very good, man. I've made a few changes this week, and you know they're paying off. So I'm feeling good.
Feeling good. Eh?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Have you altered your diet at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
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 What does that
nothing
look like
crazy because my diet's mostly based around economy right now. Yeah. And it always kind of has been, but I've been buying economical foods that are also like not absolute garbage. So I've been like trash, eating bagels and shit like that, right?
Carbs. Yeah. You buying any fresh produce?
Not really, but I do have like a freezer full of red meat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I've been kind of chewing through that.
Produce had taken like a big jump in price.
Very expensive to buy fresh produce.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, it's too much, man. There are ways you can do it pretty well, but like the thing is, if you're gonna get better prices, then you gotta buy in bulk. And often, I mean, I know personally, I'm not the most motivated when it comes to eating greens, and so, you know, most likely 3/4 of the bag of whatever it is that I got is just gonna,
it's just gonna wilt away.
Yeah, it's just gonna go soft in the fridge, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, man. I mean, diet changes are tough right now with the pricing. It's
that's the thing, right?
It's hard to find that balance between healthy and affordable for sure.
So even though like even on like kind of on like the fresh produce thing, it's like even dairy products. Like cheese.
Yeah, dude. What's 4 liters? Yeah, cheese
like, dude,
and 4 liters of milk is like $6.
Started on that. Like I remember when like you could buy a block of cheese, like a big block, for like $2.64.
Yeah,
really.
And now it's like $12.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I go, no,
maybe not gonna do that. Yeah. I mean, you can like from Superstore if you get like the no name cheese, it's like it's doable, but I mean still it's like you kind of feel bad about it, you know? That's the thing is you're like, you go to the grocery store and you're like, I'm going to get good food today. And then you're like, all right, let's get some fresh stuff. Okay, that's $40. Now let's look at some meat. Okay, some decent, you know, maybe a few steaks, you know, get some lean ground beef, whatever it is. Oh, that's another $40. Yeah. And then, I need a little bit of milk too. One milk is like $9. Yeah, it adds up, and then that ends up being 2 small plastic bags and feeds you for 4 days.
Yeah, 4 days, $100.
Yeah,
right?
Like, now I gotta go back.
I remember in first and second year of college, I could go per week was $50.
Yeah, no problem.
Like, and that was every meal of the day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And decent meals too for $50.
Yeah.
And now for $50, dude, you're lucky to get like maybe like if you're going for like just snacks, it would be like 2 bags of chips, and then like maybe like a little salad thing and like one other item, and you're at like $50.
Yeah, it's like fucking ridiculous, man.
For like meal for 7 days.
Well, you go to the convenience store, right? You go to the gas station and you're like, oh, I'm feeling like a bag of fucking Doritos, $6, please. You know, like it's fucking crazy. Like when I was, 12 years old doing my paper route, I'd go to the 7-Eleven, take my bike. I'd want a fucking bag of chips, and I'd bring a toonie and a loony, and I'd come home with a bag of chips, right?
Yeah, and you'd be perfect.
Yeah. Now it's $6 at a fucking 7-Eleven.
Like,
it's crazy.
That's why I always take advantage of like the group deals where it's like 2 for $5.50 or 2 for $7, and I'm like, that's mine.
Yeah, well, especially if you go to like Walmart and you get that like 2 for $8 or fucking 3 for $9 deal kind of thing. Like that's like decent deal on chips, but you know, you don't always want to have 3 bags of potato chips in the house, right?
Like that's just, I think 3 bags is dangerous.
Like, yeah, dude. Like
that's one of like, you have stock.
Yeah, there's a non-zero chance that gets eaten in one night.
Like you're eating a bag of chips in the night.
Yeah,
110%.
So we talked about the jelly bean dispenser in my apartment. Yeah. So we have a jelly bean dispenser that's like something you'd see in like an old candy shop.
I like
that. It's cool. It's cool. But my sister in particular is really not good at sticking to a meal schedule because she's so damn busy. She's in med school, and so
med school is busy.
It's ridiculous. She's completely packed all the time, and then like it'll be like 10:30 at night, and she'll be like, "Oh, I got to eat something." I had to ban this woman off jelly beans because it's so much easier when your brain is just like, I just need something. And you're like, okay, I could take 30 minutes and make a meal, or I can go get 4 handfuls of jelly beans from the machine. And
so 4 handfuls is a lot of jelly beans.
So she'd go and plow jelly beans. And so she went through, she emptied that whole thing. I mean, I had a few, but like, she's the jelly bean hound. And she emptied the whole thing, and we were at Costco last time. And she had this big bag of jelly beans in the cart, and we were going to the till, and I was like, no, I can't allow this.
Like, you are banned from now on.
Grabbed him and took him back. But like, when you have stuff like that around, when you have that snack food, like, you tell yourself when you buy it, you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna want like a little bit of this sometime. The next day, you're like sitting down with that bag of whatever it is, just going to town, and you'll eat like half of it or all of it and just feel like trash and not eat dinner. And you're like, this is why I don't do this. Then you go off a couple months and then you do it again.
Yeah. See, I'm notorious for chips. Chips is like my like Achilles.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite chips, dude?
Ooh, so this is gonna be like kind of a hot take because it's super basic. Regular Ruffles Originals.
Weird.
Wow. Like, regular original.
Like
that is normal, that's controversial, man.
Normal potato chips, just salt on them.
No dip.
But occasionally with dip.
Okay.
But straight up, I have mucked a family size bag in a sitting.
Oh no.
Like, and it was like, it wasn't even like that long of a sitting, which is like the worst part of it.
Yeah. How did you feel about yourself after that?
Like, unfortunately, fine.
Your self-esteem.
I was unfazed, bro.
Like, it was completely unfazed because, like, I know it's
another day, another dollar.
Like that's my fucking like Achilles ankle.
Yeah.
Is potato chips. Like, I will buy like a large bag and be like, in my mind, when I'm buying it, I'm like, yeah, I'll like pick at it once in a while. And then as soon as I walk out of the store, I look at the bag and I'm just like, yeah, that's one sitting.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately,
100%.
that's a sitting.
Calvin, what about you? What's your chip pick?
I'm a big Takis guy.
Takis Fuego.
Yeah, I love Takis. I also really like the Old Dutch kettle cooked lime and cracked pepper ones. Those slap super hard.
See, my second runner up is Miss Vicky's sweet chili and sour cream.
Those are good. Yeah.
That's
Miss Vicky's spicy dill pickle is also very good.
Dude, when they came out with that, my roommate bought one. We demolished the bag.
Gone.
Like between the two of us, it was like 20 minutes.
So I went to this European market over by IKEA last year, actually almost exactly a year ago from this date. And I bought a bag of Polish Lays, and they were spicy paprika Lays. They were very good as well.
I could see that being really good.
They were quite tasty.
I've had some Japanese Lays, and those were really good. You know the TNT market there, going down the east side of Calgary there. Yeah, fucking that TNT market. It's got all the Japanese chips, bro.
What flavors were the Japanese chips?
I can't remember. They were like lime or something.
Yeah, nuclear fission flavors.
I know
They're
they
really
have.
good.
I know they have like strawberry Kit Kats.
Yeah.
Those
are
got some
so
crazy stuff.
good.
If you guys haven't been to that TNT market, you got to check it out. It's fucking incredible.
I have. The company I worked for in first year did the electrical for the TNT market down by IKEA there.
Smells hella like fish though.
Well, they do have like an open fish section where literally they like chop the head off of the fish, plop it down on the ice, call it a day.
Yeah, it's a little gnarly. Yeah. Hey, before we get too far off of this this whole food cost thing, I want to talk to you guys just briefly about CPI. Do you know what CPI is?
No, sir.
CPI is often the metric used when you hear about inflation. So CPI is the Consumer Price Index, and it represents changes in prices. So the main contributors, as this is from the Government of Canada website here, they look at food, shelter, household operations, furnishings and equipment, clothing and footwear, transportation, health and personal care, recreation, education, and then alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis. And that's kind of what they use for pricing when they look at the increases in those items to calculate their year over year inflation. And our CPI in the last year was 7.6%. That's
unreal.
So in 1 year, an overall 7.6 is extremely high. Our annual average CPI, and this was calculated in 2021, is about 3.5%. So we were more than double our average inflation rate.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was very high. Now it is slowing down. I think it went from 7.6 to 7.3 this last month. Looking at the year over year. But it's going to take a while. However, the government did just input a higher interest rate, which should help push that back down as well. But that only just makes other things more expensive. So I think we can kind of expect the costs we're at now to kind of stay where they are, at least for a while, and they'll probably not get cheaper.
Which, I mean, like, depending on your income, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, I know for, like, me personally, it's pretty manageable.
Yeah.
Like, as is how things are sitting, I can get by pretty good. Like, as long as I, like, keep to a all right budget. It's not super strict, but it's fairly reasonable. Like, but even with that, like, it's one of, like, there's times where I forget to budget and money gets low. Yeah. And that's one of it's like, okay, next month, gonna dial that back.
Yeah, it's corn dogs and pierogies for me this month. yeah, man. No, I feel you, man. It's like I think what we can expect to see though is right now wages haven't moved with the cost of living. So we have all seen an increase in groceries, in gas, in rent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've personally felt all of those things. I'm sure you guys have seen it as well. And wage doesn't move with that. So wages didn't jump up 7.6%.
Not at all.
However, they will. Just historically, when you look at these,
everything's got to balance out,
these
right?
ebbs and flows in history. This also happened in Canada in the 1980s. There was abnormally high cost of living, and time passes. A few years go by, and things generally do sort themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, things are, it's a very quickly changing world. There are lots of things going on that are moving the prices of things more than they ever have right now, and so it's turbulent. But I would expect wages and the rest of the economy to, in a few years, kind of follow up.
Well, and you can even see that a little bit already. Like for 90% of employees right now, you're almost guaranteed a raise in pay if you move jobs, right?
Yeah.
Even right now.
Yeah.
So
like for me, like I came from Red Deer to Calgary after completing school, and that was one of my jump was from a third-year rate in Red Deer to the journeyman rate in Red Deer, but as a third-year rate in Calgary. So I was like, okay, that just makes sense.
Yeah. Why didn't I do this 3 years ago? Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think Calgary in particular is a good city for pay right now, and I think cost of living is one thing, but also the quality of life that we have in this city. I think it's worth paying a little bit of a premium for. It's a pretty wicked spot. So as much as it'd be nice to complain about this stuff all day long, ultimately all of us are still in the global 1%.
Yeah.
We're still doing pretty damn
well. And then the other thing is that we're not living in Vancouver or Toronto either, right? Calgary is not like that high cost of living anywhere near Vancouver and Toronto, right?
Yeah, because I think because I was going to do my schooling in Vancouver originally.
Right.
And
me too, actually.
That was one of, I flew out to Vancouver, did the whole walk through the campus, and then got to kind of not overly the budget for it, but it was one of, you had to write a full-on entrance exam.
Really?
For our trade.
BCIT?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got accepted to that school as well. Yeah.
See,
I didn't do it though because it was just so far away.
I was on the list up until doing the exam.
Right.
And that was one of, I talked to my dad about it, and it was one where I'd applied to SAIT and I had applied to UBC.
Right, okay.
So I applied to both, got accepted into SAIT, was waiting on the one for BC, and then they hit us with the email of, you need to write a 3-page essay on blank. Yeah. And it was like,
I'm good. I'll go to Calgary.
English was one of my better subjects, but not the biggest essay guy.
So we should quickly say that we work together. We're both in the machinist trade. We also went to school together for the 3rd and 4th year. Finished up our apprenticeship together a few months ago, and I gave my boss Spencer's information, and now we work together at the shop. So yeah, I just figured better give some context because we're starting to get into it. Right?
Some backstory behind it, But yeah, it was one of, but back to the CPI and all that. Even when kind of I was first finding a place, I moved out to Airdrie. Rent was $1,025 for a single bedroom, upper level apartment building in Airdrie. Yeah. Not the best place, but it was on the cheaper end of the spectrum.
It's also Airdrie.
Yeah, Airdrie is one where I feel Airdrie is mildly similar to Sylvan Lake to Red Deer.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Airdrie is home to some of the strangest people I've ever met in my life.
Oh, I almost got mugged in Airdrie.
Yeah, it does not surprise me at all.
I would agree with that.
It is cracker central.
Pull a knife out on me.
It is crazy white people in that city, man. It is just over the years, it's you'll just like meet someone now and you'll just be like, this guy's from Airdrie, like 100%. This is an Airdrie guy.
Can you say the same thing about like Okotoks or
no, because those places don't have weird,
right?
Airdrie has this thing, it pulls this demographic of people who probably have criminal records and like to take their 4x4s to McLean Creek on the weekends, and like it's almost like it's like if you were to take like a deep south state and then add like a sprinkle of Canadian trailer park and then give them a city. That's kind of what you end up with, and it's a very unique kind of person.
That's probably like one of the weirdest descriptions about it, but spot on. It's thank you. I like perfect.
Yeah, it's got this kind of unique sense of like it's got a weird feel to it.
Yeah,
it's almost like a entitled hick.
Yeah,
like some dude like who's like in the middle, like I'm talking like, because like I grew up in the country, like 45 minutes outside of Red Deer.
Man, and was like, in the boonies.
People out there, some of them were like, I could see them like living in Airdrie, but being like the rowdy neighbor that like, just don't even step on his property. Like you'll catch something.
Yeah. I was thinking like you'll get like bear maced, but no, you're gonna get a disease.
Yeah, like some form of like disease, whether it's mental, physical, something like that, just by being in the realm of the property.
You're gonna get malaria. Yeah, man. I also know some cool people from Airdrie.
Me too. Yep.
But I think I know all of the cool people in Airdrie.
Yeah,
sure.
I have a buddy who lives in Airdrie and then works out of Calgary.
Yeah.
And like he's a solid dude, but it's just like every time I'm like, fuck, man, like why do you have to be in Airdrie?
Is he a little Airdrie?
Not super. He's just like a little socially awkward.
Right. Okay.
Which like is completely fine. Like you can be socially awkward. Nobody cares.
People all over the world are socially awkward. It's not just an Airdrie thing.
People in general, weird. Like in comparison to like how you live your life, people are weird.
Oh, totally.
Like you have your normal. You have like your straight line. You're like, yeah, this is how the world works. And then you see somebody else's life, and you're like, no, that's not how I do things. Okay.
Yeah. Yo, do you guys know the word sonder?
Sonder, mildly. It sounds really
it's I knew the definition at one point. I cannot recall it.
It's an interesting definition, and you just reminded me of it in what you just said. It's the realization and the accompanying emotion that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own.
Right. Yes.
It's a weird feeling.
It's one of my favorite concepts, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
It doesn't cross my mind all the time, but there is something very, very neat about sitting down in a public place, people watching, and having that realization of this person right there has been on the planet 30 years longer than I have. They've experienced an entirely unique life of struggle and joy, and they have all of their relationships that matter to them in the same way that my relationships matter to me, and every single person and thousands of them go by, and it's just like it's like humbling, but there's no word for it, and so Sonder kind of fills that gap because you can't really describe it otherwise. It's its own thing.
Because like it's even one of like it's actually going to be probably my note tomorrow,
right?
For Instagram, because dude, their notes section, I love it. Because I put like random facts or like dumb thoughts, deep thoughts, like stuff that'll just like mess up your day.
So quickly explain what is the notes?
Yeah. So you're talking to two guys who don't have social media.
Oh, okay. So Instagram came out with this feature where in like the direct message section, you can add a note on the top. So it's 60 characters limit, which includes spaces, which is the dumbest thing.
Yeah, that's not many.
It limits it so much. Yeah. Like half of them I have to like reword it and be like, does this sound right? No, I can't use that one.
Do you think it sucks, or do you think there's a certain beauty to that?
It's nice, but at the same time I wish it was a little bit longer. Like just like 20 extra. Just like let me have an 80 character note.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because 60 is just like you run out of space so easily.
And that's like a sentence.
Yeah, like that's just one sentence, and that's all you get.
Yeah.
So my note for tomorrow is gonna be every other person in your life has a different like personalization about you. Like you are this type of person.
Yeah.
When in reality, they have here, you're here.
Yeah.
It's a pull. It can be pretty close.
Yeah, everybody has their own like idea of what kind of person you are, right?
Yeah. So like they have this like characterization.
Exactly.
Of you that could be spot on.
Yeah.
Or could be
way out. Yeah.
Like could be completely
That's the thing.
polar opposite spectrum just off of one interaction.
And it's really interesting talking about that while talking to another person, because we both have like a character that we've made for each other,
and now
we have no clue whether it's accurate or not.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're like second guessing on like, oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Yeah. I'm just gonna stick to my characters and just not question them and say it doesn't matter what you think. This is what I think you are. And
I think the longer you know somebody, the more accurate it becomes, right?
Yeah, because like it's like even like my one buddy's girlfriend. He had an allergic reaction, got rushed to the hospital. He filled out his name, address, and then his girlfriend filled out like 90% of it.
Wow.
Very cool. Outside of like family doctor, because he didn't have one at the time. That's the only box that she missed was family doctor. Knew everything else about him.
That's crazy.
So, like, just on that aspect.
And how long had they been together?
They've been together, I think 3 years now.
Wow,
like
that's
3 years.
That's an impressive feat for a 3-year relationship.
But their communication another level.
Oh yeah.
Like right now she's at Yale, going to college for like kind of scene director kind of thing for like stage play.
Okay.
And so he's a heavy duty mechanic outside of Red Deer. And so before that she was in BC on the island. And so they've always had this like long distance relationship. And that's one where like in a long distance relationship, you have to communicate your entire day.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. You could stub your toe. You can tell her about that. Why? Because she'll care, you care, and it'll build that relationship.
What's your relationship to these two people again?
I went to high school with my buddy.
Right.
And then later on after high school, he started dating her. Sure. And then just kind of linked in the whole scenario.
Okay.
But it's one that, like, he was a guy that, like, met him in high school, grade 10, and it was, like, instant friends. It was like we knew each other since 6.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, we just
forgot
had, like,
how to drink beer for a second. I'm wearing that.
You'll learn.
That's alcohol abuse, dude. Dude, that's straight up alcohol abuse, man.
Yeah, I have a drinking problem.
I have such a bad drinking problem. Half my beer always ends up on the floor.
Yo, you know that movie? You know Airplane? Have you seen that?
I've seen Airplane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Airplane is an iconic classic.
Funniest movie of all time in terms of laughs per minute. But there's Stryker's drinking problem in that movie, and it's like multiple times he brings up his drinking problem where he holds the glass and then he just splashes it on his face. Yeah. Hey, so we're just talking about this communication thing, and I would like to point out something that I've always found funny about communication, in particular with the female counterparts, is you tend to always get hit early on with the communication is really important to me. And I get that. I'm like, okay, yep, I agree. I think communication is important. Every time, not even like a week later, it's like, babe, what's wrong? Nothing, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's such a one-way street for it. Like, you actively are putting in effort to try and communicate, get some back, and all you get hit with is like a hee-hee.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do I do with that? How do I, like,
it's true.
there's
man.
no groundwork to build off of.
It can be so challenging. I think our brains just work so differently.
Oh, 100%.
It's so challenging sometimes to put yourself in the shoes of a woman, because you can't change the way you think.
Yeah.
And so even if you try and think the way that she's thinking, you still see it through your own lens.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't get there. Like what you are telling me just doesn't.
You got the recipe, but not the ingredients.
I remember I had a conversation with, it was one of my exes. She had like a royally bad day.
Sure.
And like didn't overly talk much that day, and then like started asking her about it, and she's like, oh, it's nothing. And I'm like, no, like, come on, tell me about it. Like, what happened? What put you in this mood? Like, where, like, I'm trying to help you here. And it was like something as minor as like she, like, her hair didn't turn out the way
right.
it worked, but that was like right at the start of the day, and it just set everything like dominoes.
Yeah.
And
that can happen too, right?
But like it's also one of like, you have to, like, or at least one thing that I'm trying to do now is, I used to be very not really emotional, but easily put down.
Right.
And that's one of like where it was a big struggle of like, because it's like one of like a little criticism becomes a massive criticism.
Right.
And like now you're starting second guessing, like doubting, all that stuff. And I think it's one of, you have to put it into perspective of 5 minutes. You have a 5-minute issue.
Yeah.
How long are you allowing that to affect you? Like, is it one of, it can be a very traumatic thing. Like, don't get me wrong, there's certain scenarios where you have a 5-minute thing, extremely traumatizing.
Right.
But it's one of like something as simple as like, you messed up at work.
Yeah.
You messed something up. Okay, it's not a huge deal. You know, you messed up. That's one thing. Don't let it get to you. Why? Because there's always tomorrow.
Yeah. That's the tough part, right?
Yeah, like it's one of like, you have to come to an acceptance factor, or polar opposite, you just don't care.
Right.
Which is like, there's a limit. Like there's a line. And like you have to stay.
You got to give a shit about something.
Yeah. Like you can be the guy that's like, you know what, I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
But you have to give X amount. You have to keep a little, like, kind of bursary, if you want to call it, of fucks to give.
So how long have you been actively practicing or taking note of, trying to have that mindset?
It was mainly this year.
Right. So kind of like the start of this year, like you'd say?
No, I would say kind of like right after school, to be honest. Like, my initial point of the year, it was not the best. Like, I was going through it.
Yeah.
And it was one kind of, the biggest shift for me was like one of me moving to Calgary. So I was like, yep, I'll move to Calgary, fresh start.
Yeah.
Not like fresh of like, I cut off all ties to everyone else. But
yeah, it's a fresh start, right?
Like, move to a new city.
I did that 2 years ago. I did full fresh start.
Oh, it's so nice.
It is.
It's got its
best
moments
opportunity
of,
of my life.
Like, and like even like from Red Deer, like I have a group of like 10, 15 people that, like, I still go back, still care about them, but everybody else, I don't care. Like, what happens in their day doesn't make a difference.
Dude, you got me beat on the 10 to 15, man. I got like 5 people total.
Well, it was one of like, a lot of them are car homies.
Right.
So it's one of like, I kind of have to kind of stay caring about them because they're the homies.
Part of the club, part of the gang.
Like, they're part of the crew.
So you would say then it was kind of like you felt a variety of changes happening in your life, and you kind of decided, like, in all that change, that you were going to put a focus on trying to take things in stride and keep the small stuff small. Yeah,
because like it's one of, that's always been like a big struggle for me, is like a motivation issue and stuff like that, of like, I would have motivation to do something, get 3/4 of the way there, take like a 5% knock back, and it might as well have been the full 75%.
Right.
Like, it would just put me completely
Yeah,
out
if you
of
lose
it.
a little bit of the momentum, then your motivation drops and you lose it all, right?
And it's just when I'm trying to keep at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, even if I'm just doing something small.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just trying to keep at it. And, yeah, don't get me wrong. Still are days where, you know, I just go home, go into my room, shut the door, only come out to, like, you know, smoke a bowl. Something like that. Like, that's the only time I'd, like, leave my room.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, because, like, the biggest shift for me was because it was actually starting to affect my diet.
Right.
Like,
okay. Which then affects day to day how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It affects your brain.
Yeah. Like, there was a time where it's like kind of, it's not overly embarrassing because it's just like damn, I didn't eat for a week.
Yeah, it's no good.
An entire week. The
No
only
food.
thing I would like eat was like snacks.
Right.
Like a little granola bar. That would be the only meal of the day.
Yeah.
Is like a granola bar. That's not good.
You can't operate on that,
like,
right?
Yeah, because like it would get to a point where, but that was when I was on graveyards. So it was one of like, that was a super.
That's hard on the bod, man. Yeah.
Because like it's like for
fucks with your head.
There's like a statistic. I don't remember exactly what it is. So if it's wrong, that's on me. But it's something like for every year that you work or something like that, you take like 2 years off your life or 2 months. For every year that you work, you lose like graveyard. 2 months off your life just from lack of sunlight.
Yeah. Yeah,
sunlight's fucking huge, man.
Oh, it's massive.
I make a point of it every morning. I'll get to work or whatever. As soon as the sun comes up above that horizon, I'll go stand outside 5 minutes and look at it.
Nice.
Try and get that fucking light in, right? Because it sets good, man. It sets the fucking mood for the day, right? Like, the sun is huge when it comes to your mood.
I got one of those lights. I think you saw the light. I got one of the I call it the depression light, but it's essentially like artificial.
Like a vitamin D
It's
light.
Artificial sun, yeah.
Isn't it like meant for that as well?
Yeah.
Like it's meant to help with it.
Yeah, so it is meant for like sunlight replication, and so that covers a huge variety of needs in your body. I mean, you'd have to be careful with it because it can jack with your circadian rhythms.
For sure.
Because your body subconsciously uses your senses to regulate what time you should be sleeping. If you walk into your room at 11:30 at night in the middle of winter and the sunlight lamp is on and you keep it on for like 5 minutes, you'll turn it off and then you'll be laying there with your eyes wide open and you're like, I was so tired like 20 minutes ago.
Like, what happened?
Like, why is this happened? But that thing is helpful, and yeah, like sunlight is so huge in so many ways. I was listening to another podcast. You recommended it. It was the Dr. Gabor Mate episode. Of the Joe Rogan Experience, and I found that very fascinating when they were talking about how humans are not designed for the conditions of the modern world.
Not at all.
So
even our feet.
Yeah.
Like that's the weirdest part. Our feet, the only reason why we have separated toes and why our knees bend the way they do is because we were originally meant to climb trees.
Yeah.
And we never evolved past that.
We did
like for foot wise.
We did evolve into runners. That was the human. The human is the ideal running machine.
No, it is not.
Yeah, dude.
It's still the Velociraptor.
Oh, okay.
Like of all time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. I didn't think.
I was like, dude, there's the ostriches.
You did say of all time, Calvin.
I was like, ostriches can run at 80 kilometers an hour.
Ultimate. Yes, but no. I mean, alive right now. Humans are the ultimate running machine, and
in terms of endurance, right?
Yes, because
that is the big thing.
We're the only mammal. We're the only mammal that can operate our lungs independently from the limbs that run us, and so dogs, cats, everything else, every step is a breath. For humans, we can operate our circulatory system and our respiratory system completely separate from what our legs are doing. So humans, before we had projectiles figured out, we would run things to death.
True.
There's a very fascinating book that I read on this, and there are still certain areas of the world where people do this, but we are ultimate running machines.
Because isn't it?
But we do have monkey feet.
Oh yeah, 100% we have monkey feet. Only difference is like they have this like longer toes,
and they can grab. They can grab with their feet in a way that we can't quite as well, like a jiu-jitsu pro.
Oh yeah,
man,
like you can just grip and just grab, and it's just like, dude, you're grabbing me as hard as like I can grab you with my hand.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed. Is the instructor that was just at Worlds from Alavanca.
Yeah, Sam Franchi.
Yeah, when Sam was doing like a demo and like I was rolling with this guy and. I was like, okay, but like, why can't I just do this? And he's like, I'll show you. And so he goes down on his back and I go to do it to him. And I swear, like his foot grabbed the side of my leg and like, he like pulled himself around me with his foot. I was like, what did you just do?
It was just like pure, like it was probably like a solid 2 seconds of like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah,
like,
it was just, firm grab.
Yeah, another interesting thing about the foot too is like like uncontacted tribes, right? Like in the Amazon jungle, people who grow up without wearing shoes their whole life,
so much better.
Dude, their fucking feet splay out like how your hands kind of like your fingers splay out. Their fucking toes do that.
Yeah, but it's also one of like apparently if you live. Because it's all dependent on habit. Like, it's like 6 months to pick up like a lifetime habit or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's one of, if you walk without shoes on, it will help your posture.
Yeah.
It will help your physical stature. You will be, like, your shoulders, weirdly enough, I think it would matter with age of, like, when you start. But, like, your shoulders would develop broader just because you're standing on your feet. It kind of resets how your whole body nervous system deals with life, because like most people's feet, the most sensitive area.
That is that's highly interesting. I know the similar things to be true about the spine and how interconnected the spine is to the body. And so if you have like something wrong with your neck, like if your cervical spine is out of alignment, people will get like reduced mobility in their left knee, and then they'll like go to a spine expert and it's like and they'll look at it and be like, it's a nervous system issue, and you're being pinched here, which is affecting down there, and so everything comes from that spine, and so it makes sense. Your feet are affecting your legs and your hips and how those sit and how they're aligned, which then positions your spine from that point. And so if your spine is getting pushed out or, sits in a weird position because you've got an inch of rubber underneath your feet for 8 hours a day, it kind of makes sense how that compounds into like a whole bunch of issues.
And like, not to go too in depth on feet, because feet's an odd topic and you can spiral downhill real quick.
Big foot guy over here.
Foot guy.
It's just one of like, I know like a couple little facts about it.
We don't kink shame here at How Many House Cats. It's all good.
But it's one of like, if you break your pinky toe, you have no sense of balance.
Yeah,
you completely
heard that.
All of your cerebellum.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that controls balance, and it doesn't have to be both, just one. That's all it takes to completely throw your entire body out of whack. Just breaking a pinky toe.
I feel like this is an experiment I want to run.
Do not break your pinky toe.
Will it re-heal?
Yeah, like it'll heal.
Yeah.
But like think about it. You break bones in your feet every time you step.
What?
A quarter of the bones in your body are in your feet.
Yes.
They're so small that your body weight.
Isn't there like there's like 26 or 28 bones in each foot, something like that?
25 bones per foot, which you have 250 bones total.
Right.
I believe.
Yeah, it's 250 something.
Yeah, so 50 would be a quarter.
Yeah.
Because I know it's exactly like 25% of your bones in your feet.
50 is not quarter.
Yeah, it was like
200. 20%.
200 bones?
Whatever, yeah.
I want to say 200 bones total.
Okay, yeah, whatever, close enough. Yeah,
we don't 200 bones total, 25 of them are in each foot.
Yeah. Yeah, man. The feet are a crazy thing. Yes, this is I guess this kind of ties into we were talking about this a little bit before the podcast, but this book I've been reading about the search for the earliest human ancestors, and it's really interesting to look at the process that these paleontologists and anthropologists and archaeologists have to do in order to identify a species and say whether it is a human ancestor or some kind of basically dead path of monkey ancestry where it could have been a human ancestor. It's not a monkey that we know today, but it also isn't a human ancestor for whatever reason. And this is before they had gene sampling technology. So these guys are not taking bits out of the ground and putting it into a machine and being able to look at the gene sequencing of a human versus whatever sample they found and going, oh yes, we are an obvious lineage off this animal. What they had to do is look at bone structures because it's essentially all they had. And so they're going off of alignment of limbs. They're the angle of which the tibia interacts with the knee and that interacts with the thigh, and the size of the brain, and also the jaw and what the teeth look like, and all of these different things. But they go back into these really early samples, and it gets extremely hard to tell because, I mean, one, it's a 3.5-4 million year old skeleton.
You're dealing with old.
Yeah,
like
old,
it's not like your grandpa old. It's like this is billions.
Yeah. So millions
yeah,
of
millions,
years, billions of seconds, millions of years. But I mean the process in which these bones are found is like these. They found in this. It's called the Afar or Afar region of Ethiopia, and it's a point that's below sea level in Ethiopia. It's a lowlands where you get to like 140 degrees Fahrenheit kind of temperature, like just gnarly. It'll eventually become a seabed, but as of right now it's kind of just a super dry wasteland. But what happened was they found this along kind of a dried up riverbank. They found a family of like 15 specimens.
Holy crap.
And all of which were like 3-point-something million years old. And you can come up with all kinds of ideas as to how these bodies ended up dead and together and in the same place. But the process after they died, whether it was from a animal attack or whatever it was, the bodies become preserved by the alkaline content in the soil, which keeps them from decomposing and turning into mush. And then they get it's volcanic soil, and so it's very, very good for preserving. And then sediment runs over top of these bodies that are sinking into this alkaline soil, and eventually the bones turn into rock. Essentially, they get filled with, it's like it kind of forms a cast in a way, and they get covered up under however many dozens of feet of sediment and rock, and then as time goes by, things erode and tectonic plates shift and slowly push these fossilized remains back up to the surface. So that's the kind of time frame that you're looking at. It's not
like
millions
of years.
It's not just like a body sat there underneath a tree and they find a bone from where the body was. It's like it has fully been preserved, pulled under the surface of the earth, moved around, and then pushed back up. And somehow, I mean, they're not finding these in full form either. Like, part of the challenge for these scientists is that they have to take these little tiny fragments of bone, which takes decades of practice and experience to be able to spot that in the ground, differentiate that from a pebble. And then you're pulling out hundreds and hundreds of these little fragments and then piecing them together like a puzzle.
Which I think that's something that like a lot of people don't kind of realize about paleontology
Mm-hmm.
is because like most people, like your first thought about paleontology, oh, guys dig around in the dirt, find some bones, put it together, boom, you have
You're
a dinosaur.
thinking of like the Velociraptor in the Royal Tyrrell Museum.
Yeah,
that's
where it's like
perfectly
perfectly there. Like you don't have to do anything. You just pull the rock off, put it over.
Dust them off.
Like,
Yeah, looking
like
good.
these guys are like splitting layers of rock just to get fish bones.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, where they like have like an angle, like a piece of like iron that's like millimeters thick, and they're just like pop off like one layer of rock, and it's like set that over there, next layer.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy, man.
Crazy,
They use this it's actually really smart. So they kind of rely on the assumption that these beings were symmetrical in the same way that we are. And so even though they only found about 30% of the specimen, they can replicate close to 70% of the total bone structure through a mirror reflection down the middle. And so you're finding, a bit of this leg down here and some of this hip from this side, and then you reflect from everything that's on this side over to here and everything that's on this other side over to there, and you end up with a much more complete skeletal frame than you originally do. It's so cool to me, the stuff that these guys came up with in order to, create more comprehensive skeletons out of these tiny remains that they found. There was one of the, I promise I won't go on this, too much longer. I just do find it really cool. But one of the researchers on this team, he was a British guy. I can't remember the name of him, but he got his start in archaeology and paleontology when he was he was a soldier in the Second World War, and he got moved to Africa. And while the Allies were fighting the fascist Italians in Northeast Africa, they were digging trenches, and this guy, he wasn't a frontline fighter, but he was a medic or a mechanic or something like that. Had some kind of non-combat role in the force, and he was going into these trenches and these piles, and just as a curious young man, he wasn't an academic at this point. He was just a curious guy that was finding artifacts. He was finding stone tools and skeletal remains, and by the end of the war, he had like dozens of gas cans full of artifacts that he brought home with him, that he then used to get his jumpstart into that aspect or in that world of science. And it's so cool hearing about the people that were involved in these origins of humanity, because it's such a niche, hardcore thing to get into, where these guys are like living in the 140 degree Ethiopian weather for 4 months, surrounded by hostile tribes that will kill them if they find them. And it's just these super, super passionate guys that go to every length to find these specimens. It's really cool, man.
That is so cool, man.
If any of you have finding an inkling of interest in this, go read more, because there's so much to be told.
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of bones and history. Definitely ones of everybody has a rough frame of reference, but that frame of reference is so small in comparison to the full scale depth of what it can be.
There's a lot of blanks. There's a lot of missing gaps in our timeline as well. It's there's so many things even in the last 100 years that have completely caused us to fully rewrite the history books.
Well,
it's just gonna keep happening.
Even just on that 100-year time span thing. If you think about it, 100 years ago, that is 1922 or 23. 23 now, yes. 1923 will be next year.
Yeah.
Right.
So 100 years ago next
this
year.
guy doesn't think it's 2022.
Brother, it is 2022 currently.
I don't pay attention to years.
We are 2 months out that shit.
Yeah. So in 2 months, 100 years ago will be 1923.
Right.
Think about what was going on in 1923. Like, we were still, like, horse-drawn carriage almost.
Yeah.
Like, we were just past transitioning from everyone moving from a horse-drawn carriage.
The First World War has just ended.
Yeah, like, to the automobile.
Yeah, man.
It's it's a mind fuck, man, to think about it. And you know, there's people on Earth right now that are 100 years old, and I mean that's mind-boggling, right?
Yeah,
watching that kind of progression and technology increase, and I mean it's fucking crazy.
Like, my grandma passed away a couple years back,
right?
But she legitimately got to watch the entire world go from horse-drawn carriage to space.
Yeah.
To artificial intelligence.
To glass skyscrapers.
The whole process.
The Great Depression.
Like,
the World Wars.
Through it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's crazy.
Was in England when the bombs were being dropped.
Yeah.
Like,
dude,
she got to see things.
Well, and then think again, like, if we were to live to 100, what kind of shit we're gonna watch happen? Because think about, like, when you were like 4 to 6 years old, you had your first memory, say, right? Like, what was the world like back then, right? Your mom had a fucking computer that was a meter fucking wide in the back, right?
Ran off of a floppy disk.
You know, you fucking you wanted to watch the backyard again, so you adjusted the antennas on top of the TV, right? Like, and your mom like grabbed her fucking flip phone, you know, like it's a different world already. And
I remember when cellular internet became a thing, and the 3G network was dropped, and it was like, you mean I can download Angry Birds while we're in the car?
Yeah,
like, that is what?
Yeah.
And then when 4G came out, and then you're like, I can do it faster.
Yeah. And then 5G came out, and you're like, I'm infertile now. Yeah,
dude, I have 5G. Genuinely, my high-speed data, impeccable.
It's good.
Well,
like,
I remember when it
took.
Good. I remember when it took fucking 12 hours to download COD Zombies mobile. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
You click download, you'd be like, bro, tomorrow morning we're gonna kill this shit, you know?
Dude, once this download finishes, you know, we're gonna crush this. We're gonna get to round 40 easily.
Yeah. Were you in Red Deer County growing up still?
Yes.
You were still in so you were under ExploreNet. Internet wise, growing up,
still are,
or you just okay,
because where my parents live, we actually no, we didn't have ExploreNet because we had to get satellite internet.
Yeah,
because we were too low for the tower to reach
too much in the boonies. Yeah, okay. So I did a bunch of internet work out in Red Deer in the second year of my apprenticeship. Yeah, we did a ton of fiber stuff, but I was bringing this up because you would have grown up on farm Wi-Fi. Farm Wi-Fi is a different breed, man.
Buddy.
When you're going on vacation and you're like, I want to download a movie for this vacation. It's a week before we leave. I'm gonna start that now, and the movie finishes downloading like 2.5 days later, and it's like 1.3 gigabytes.
Like, we got 10 gigs a month.
Yeah, that's
10
ludicrous.
Gigabytes.
You guys were on that beta Starlink, dude. You were on that early
like,
business.
It was early Starlink, and like now my parents, I don't know how many gigs a month they have now, but I know it's way better. But yeah, I remember one time when I was in high school. Yeah. So keep in mind, this is like 2017, 2016 era. I was gonna play Rocket League with a buddy of mine in Black Falls.
Good luck.
I had over 1,000 ping.
Right.
That is 10 seconds of delay.
Dude, because
unplayable.
Dude, that's awesome.
Like dude, we Mario Kart though.
Yo.
Every level, every race, every CC gold star.
Yeah, man.
Why?
I'm working on 150
had nothing better
right now.
to do.
Yeah.
Dude,
do you still have the Wii?
Yes, I still do have it. Doesn't have the account because we had to reset the Wii, which happens. You know, it's always a hit to the hit to the heart. But I slowly worked back at it, and I think I just have like 4 or 5 of the boxes to fill.
I believe pretty strongly that the Nintendo Wii is and will forever be the golden era of gaming.
Yeah.
See, I'm still a little more biased towards N64.
See, I'm not, and only in terms of playability and overall enjoyment.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
on that end, I will 110% give the Wii.
Yeah, if you're sitting there by yourself, N64 is, taking that every time. But the Wii has something special where you can have some friends over, and you don't need internet, and N64 no internet either, but you don't need any prior experience. You can take remote. The controls are intuitive, and anyone can hop on and play. It's competitive in just the right amount. You can have 4 people all playing at the same time, and it's a riot, and it never gets old. That period. Cool. Now you hop on online games, you get rinsed out by some neckbeard who's put in 8,000 hours, and it's like, I don't even want to do this because
or the one that hurts more is the 8-year-old child that still goes to school, all that, but hops home and he's just a master at the game.
Yeah. And also has an inclination for dropping racial slurs.
Oh,
yeah.
Eight, I would say
Buddy, you're fucking
8
mom.
to 12-year-olds. 8 to 12-year-olds are the worst people on the planet. Why? Because they have no filter once they're online.
Oh, dude.
They will let anything and everything go.
I remember being on the mic on Black Ops 2, bro. Yeah, don't even
Call of Duty Modern Warfare on Xbox Live.
Lobbies are special, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's even one of
you wouldn't dare be a woman on one of those.
Oh, dude, like, it's constant. Like, it would be like
you'd have guys
DMs.
coming up and teabagging. Yeah, if you're a woman on the
and
mic.
Then, like, the direct message you would get, like, after the game's over, and like even as dudes, like, you'd still get one. Like, this one dude will kill you like 15 times in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you're 100% getting a message, and it's like putting you in the deepest, darkest hole in your house.
Buddy, you seem like the kind of guy who doesn't know how to swim.
Damn.
See you later, sweetheart.
Shoot, how did he know?
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm proud of that one.
One of mine that, like, I developed in the new Modern Warfare. I used to call people room temp IQ.
Yeah.
So put that in perspective. Average IQ is like what? 80,
100.
100, something like that. 80s to be classified as dumb.
100 is average, hey?
100 is average. That's where the scale was built around.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
so room temperature on average is 21 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
So put that in perspective. That's 79.
Dude, your dog
points.
is smarter than
Like,
that.
your dog
Straight
is
up.
smarter than that. Like,
dogs have like an IQ of like 60, right? Yeah.
Do you guys know the minimum possible IQ for survival?
Isn't it like 15 or something like that?
A little lower.
A little lower?
Is it
12.
lower than that?
Yeah. It's actually 7.
7?
Yeah. And so
low.
you need an IQ of 7 for your Abdullah Oblongata in order to be functional enough to basically beat your heart and make your lungs work.
What was that word you just said?
Abdullah Oblongata.
What is that?
It's the region of your brain that controls the autonomous actions of your body.
Right.
So it's the part of your brain that makes your heart beat and your lungs go and blink and all those other, maybe not blinking, but it's the vital functions. It's the vital functions of your body.
Which on vital functions, this is like a weird thought to think about.
Yeah.
Isn't it strange how humans are the only people that can regulate between manual breathing and automated breathing?
Is that true?
Really?
If you think about breathing manually, you will have to breathe manually.
Are we the only ones that do that though?
No, man. There's definitely like when ducks go swimming underwater.
Well, yeah,
I feel like they gotta hold their breath.
They
They gotta hold their breath.
They can hold their breath, but that's a natural reaction. It's like even for babies.
Right.
Babies
that
have
automatic?
a natural instinct of when they're
Maybe.
submerged underneath water to hold their breath.
I guess. Do you
But
think
we are
it's
the
an
only
ability
ones that can actively control when we breathe?
See, I would think that's just like a factor of the self-awareness of humans.
Yeah, I think that's
Which
just a
I do
consequence of
believe that
consciousness,
Yeah.
right?
thing,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just on the fact that we have that
Consequence
amount
of consciousness, bro. That's a line right there.
Yeah, bro. Well, I mean, like, you gotta imagine, like, don't orangutans probably manually breathe sometimes.
I don't believe they
Like,
do.
I don't know. Orangutans are pretty smart.
They are
like
smart as hell.
Dolphins, crows.
But if you think about the environment that they're in, they don't have the need to manually regulate their breathing.
Why do we?
Because we go into certain environments and also we have the increased IQ of it, and we have a more developed brain.
Right. We can drop dookies in the bathroom and then be like, I don't want to breathe that in, but I gotta go back and get my toothbrush. yeah.
And like just the simple thought of like you thinking about breathing, you will start to actively know when you breathe.
Yeah.
You will be the one to make breathe
just
in,
pause to
breathe
think
out,
about my breathing.
Right? And then I bet you I would say a solid 9 or 10 times out of 10, you will manually start.
So it's if you believe in Darwinian evolution, right? The ability to 100%. Manually breathe is adaptive. So what do you think? What do you think is the pressure in our environment that made us have to be able to manually breathe to survive?
I would say being the kind of the hunter of it is we have to hold our breath. If we're hunting something, we have to be quiet. We have to hold our breath. You can't make a sound. Breathing, animals are extremely sensitive to noise. So if think about back, we had woolly mammoths were there till the Egyptian era.
Yeah.
And we were like humans were dealing with dinosaurs. Like rough dinosaurs.
Well, we had alligators and chickens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
mammoths, right?
Yeah. On the fact of like our predators were like tigers, lions, bears, this, that, the other thing. So
real quick, think about being a caveman walking through the jungle and all of a sudden a Bengal tiger shows up.
Dude,
how brutal would that be, man? I could not even.
That's a terrifying thought, right?
Yeah,
dude,
man.
Even now.
You just got your stick.
Dude, imagine now. You wouldn't have a stick. Yeah. You would have a phone. A phone, a wallet, maybe if you're lucky, like a machete.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to terrify you guys with the image of coming face to face with a Bengal tiger.
T-game.
Yeah, I think the manual breathing thing is just like a product of our environment that we were put in.
Yeah, definitely. I just mean what pressure did the environment put on that caused that adaptation?
I think the pressure was kind of like self-imposed on the fact of we had to go into the water to find food.
Right. But water should be automatic, right?
Water is automatic. Yeah. That's a natural reaction to hold your breath underwater.
Yeah.
But just because we were in so many different environments, so many different factors around us, that pressured us into developing this technique, we'll call it, of manually controlling your breathing. Because like if you think about it, a diver's breath is in, pause, hold it, out, pause, hold it. Why?
Right.
Because you have to
box breathing.
Yeah, you have to let the airlines cycle. So if you breathe in and then immediately breathe back out, you won't be able to breathe out because the oxygen tank is flowing in.
This guy's such a nerd, man. He knows the word for it. Box breathing.
The box breathing.
Yeah, because it's in, pause, out, pause.
Man.
Yeah.
But
there's
it's
once
just
again the useless knowledge coming in clutch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think genuinely that would be the biggest factor of it. Is just the fact that we had to deal with all of these different things because we were advanced, quote unquote.
I think at least from how I see it, I think it's just a factor of greater intelligence. I don't think
I tend to agree with that.
It doesn't seem to me like it would be an evolutionary need to hold your breath because if you think in a hunting scenario, I mean cats are the ultimate ambush hunters. They rely extremely heavily on stealth and being dead still and dead quiet, and they don't hold their breath as far as I can
so here's
tell.
another question
they
too.
Breathe different than us though, like mildly different,
right?
Just how their cycles are.
Okay,
but.
So how do you think our environment today, our highly modernized technological environment, is making us evolve? What kind of changes do you think we're going to see to the human body?
I'm thinking it's
You're talking just physiological, like just body, or are you talking mental effects as well?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say
It's
on
evolution in
physical,
general.
On physical, I could see us getting smaller.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, there's
We're going the other way right now.
Yeah,
People are getting taller.
Yeah. Like I'm 6'1", and like 9 times out of 10, I don't feel that tall.
Yeah.
But I'm well over average height.
Yeah.
Like I think average height's like what, 5'8", something like that.
I think it's smaller than that.
Smaller than that.
Yeah.
And 1,000 years ago, it was like 4'6".
Yeah.
And like I'm 6'1", and like 9 times out of 10, if I'm in a room, I'm not the tallest guy there.
Yeah.
By like a head or half a head.
Well, and Canada is also a very, very tall country. We're tall people here, which is another thing, right? If you go to Asia, you're gonna stand out. Yeah.
Like,
there's a really interesting correlation between distance from the equator and bodily surface area. So
really,
do you think that has something to do with gravity?
I don't think it's a gravity thing. I think it's a heat exchange thing. So
could be.
When you go like really close to the equator, most of the people are extremely tall. So you've got Central Americans, and then going around to you've got Ecuador and all of those countries, and then you've got Africa, where you have the tallest people in the world. And when you think of from a surface area perspective, when you go to the edges of the planet, or not, I guess not edges, that's a silly way to put it, but to the ends of the planet, the poles. Yeah, right, that's the word.
Over here.
Yeah, dude.
Also, that's a little side note, little tidbit. If the Earth was flat, that would be the biggest people interaction possible.
Dude, it would be so humbling.
Like, well, think about it. Like, think about Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Public interaction, like, super profitable. Edge of the world would be the exact same scenario.
True. Yeah. You could profiteer that big time. Yeah. Word. What was I just talking about?
The poles.
Yes,
and
the poles, people. Yeah. So people at the edges are rounder. You look at people who live in cold climates, and they're shorter and they're rounder, and they have much lower surface area than the people who live near the equator, and it comes to a heat exchange thing.
Yeah, so it's thermodynamics.
Yeah, and so there's I know the formula for like general heat transfer, but the one for like the amount of area of the object, I don't remember exactly
volume
what
to
it
surface
is.
area, right?
Yeah, but there is a relationship there, and the more important it is for you to either hold on to or let go of heat has genetically changed the bone structure of the people in those regions, which is pretty cool to think about.
Oh yeah, it's amazing to think about.
It's like an invisible force that just slowly makes these changes. So we were going,
well, I mean, it's the same thing with skin color, right? Go to any city on the equator and try to find a white person. It's not impossible. You'll find some if it's a tourist area, especially. But it's like none of the local people there are white because the sun will fry you, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's one of the kind of the thing with geography affecting our physiology. Just super interesting.
This ties to the book.
The book. Yo, before we get into that, can we take a break real quick? I got to piss.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sure. I have the same exact thing.
I just need to say, ultimately, we are all Africans.
Yeah, that's where we all began.
Yeah. All right. T-game.
Break time.
T-game.
All right. We've returned.
We are back.
I'm back.
Freshly
Welcome
urinated.
back. Yep. The garden hose has been emptied.
You gotta be quicker than that, buddy.
I took my time with it.
I pushed. I was going
for a hernia. I understand that very quickly.
Precisely. So, we ended on
Africa. Humans were born in Africa.
The soundboard is crazy loud. I just saw the band on there. Yo, check this out.
You gotta be quicker than that, buddy.
Oh, that's gonna destroy the ears when it comes listening time.
Oh well, this is what you signed up for. This is an amateur podcast.
Yeah. We are all Africans, but not professionals.
Someone's gonna be listening to the podcast at 2 a.m. on the TV at night. Just has the audio turned way down, and then you gotta be quicker than that, buddy. And
or the other hand, laying in bed, headphones in, you know, getting tied in for the night. You know, throw on the podcast, gonna fall asleep to it. Just as you're falling asleep, you're gonna be quicker than that, buddy.
How's it going?
It sounded okay in the headphones, though.
Yeah, I mean, I was
quicker than that, buddy. Might be a louder one out of the rest of the soundboard.
It is. Yeah, I think. That's pretty loud too. Oh, but it didn't. I don't even know if that registered on the board there. Might have just picked it up through my mic. Word.
Yeah, it might be your mic. Yeah, that might be what it is.
Yeah, true. Cool.
Anyway, humans were born in Africa.
Yeah, man. We are all Africans.
It's very cool.
Sure. I like to remind myself of that sometimes, you know. It's like in all seriousness, we did all just come from the same place.
Yeah. Everyone's heritage traces back to Africa at some point in their life.
Yeah. Do we know where exactly in Africa it was, or is it must be hard to kind of pinpoint it?
I mean,
I'm assuming Ethiopia if they're going for the first remains.
I mean, Ethiopia only we've only seen the old remains there because of the particular conditions in which are provided in Ethiopia that keep the skeletal remains intact the way they are. They very could easily be other places in the world. Hell, they could be in Canada for all we know, but Canada doesn't have ripe conditions for preserving human remains. And so our only metric to tell where the very start of human civilization was from is in the places where the remains are preserved back to that time period. And Ethiopia happens to be that place. So all over Africa, there are old skeletal remains. Like South Africa, that was where the first like majorly prehistoric skeletal remains were found. It was like 1.3 million years, and then it kind of went on from there. But
and it also relies on the area and its tectonics, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And scientists basically walking over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you think of how big the planet is, odds are not awesome.
Yeah.
No,
you know?
Good luck.
Yeah. Good luck.
Like, how many times have you been walking in your backyard and you just find a bone?
However, this can be targeted to some degree because humans have always settled near water, and so when looking for human remains, you want to go near waterbeds. When I was with my uncle in Texas, and there's a very high population of Native Americans in Texas from thousands of years ago. And he took us arrowhead hunting.
Nice.
And you can go search riverbeds. And that day we didn't find anything. I did find an insanely well preserved shell.
Nice.
That was it's a big like spiral shell that was fossilized that I found sitting like kind of tucked away, which was a cool find. But he's got a whole collection of arrowheads that he's pulled out of there. My grandpa has this rock that my dad has now. I showed it to you, Parker. Do you remember the mallet head that was out at my parents' place?
I don't think I remember.
The farm. It's like a rock. It's a rock about this big, and it has kind of round groove in a ring around it. Yes. And there's a little bit of dark red on one of the ends, and
somebody got clubbed.
Yeah, and so my grandpa found it in his field after cultivating. He was turning over the soil and found this thing and kept it. And these things go back a crazy long time, and so it could be 200 years old, or it could be like 1,500 years old. We don't really know.
And it's even one of like, if you think about it, like the Mayan civilization used obsidian as their tools. Obsidian does not break down.
Yeah.
So
it's
only
also
shatters.
razor sharp.
Oh yeah, like you will. They used to have a weapon that literally they would stab it into you, and it would break as they pulled it out.
What so a brutal! That makes me squirm a little.
Mayans were one of the most savage.
I plan on doing a full Maya episode.
You were just looking into the Aztecs though, eh?
Yeah. The Maya is an interesting one. I'm probably gonna do a dive on both because there are different things that make them so unique and special.
Fun fact: I've actually been on Mayan ruins.
Oh, really?
And Aztec ruins.
Oh,
mildly cool. Aztec. I'm not 100% sure.
That's very cool.
But definitely Mayan.
Dude, have you seen Mel Gibson's Apocalypto?
Yes.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
He knows it. He knows it.
The dog knows it.
I've been trying to get Parker on that train.
You should
have to watch
it.
How do I watch it? Where
Crazy
do I find
film.
it?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah. For those of you who have not watched Apocalypto, go do it. Not before you have to sleep, and not while you're hungry or feeling any other sort of discomfort, because it's one of the most unsettling films I've ever watched.
Unless you're a guy like me who can eat a bag of sour cream and onion chips next to your buddy who's puking in the toilet.
Yeah.
Unless you're one of those guys or will fall asleep to horror movies.
Yeah.
Unless you're in that archetype.
Yeah.
Do not watch before bed. Do not watch after a full meal.
Yeah.
And do not watch while eating.
Yes. Apocalypto is best watched at 2 a.m. on Friday or Saturday.
Yes.
But phenomenal at any time, for sure.
Any time.
Yeah. Dude, that's there's some crazy screenwriting in that film too. And
they went in so good detail.
And actors and actresses of true descent as well. They had true Mesoamerican actors.
I find was film. It was a nice little touch that they threw on it of because they could
so many shows do half-ass
Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. Why? Because he's got the name.
Yeah, they could have got Robert Downey Jr. in there.
But it's one of they were no, okay, we're gonna keep it original. We're gonna keep it true to form, and we're gonna get actual descendants from them to play the roles.
Well, that's in Yellowstone with the Native American girl that's Casey's wife in Yellowstone is Vietnamese or something. It's come on, guys.
It's you can do better than that.
you gotta be quicker than that, buddy. Yeah, man. But no, the Mayans and Aztecs, dude. Those are some very, very interesting. And the Olmecs too. Older than both of those, but very, very interesting. I mean, I'm not even going to get started again because I'll go into a whole rant about more ancient civilizations, but fully agree with you. Super tight civilizations those were.
Super genius.
Yeah, until the smallpox blankets came along.
The smallpox blankets definitely kind of threw a wrench into the mix.
Yeah, that didn't help. I mean, they were already on the decline. To some degree.
I think it would have been one of they just kind of would phase out of how their civilization ran.
Yeah.
And they would kind of convert more to the European lifestyle.
Yeah.
Rather than the true to...
You know that the Aztecs were only present in Mesoamerica for 360 years?
Yeah, it wasn't that long of a run.
It was not long
in
at
the
all.
full span of Earth.
Yeah.
A blip.
Yeah.
Not even.
That's nothing. Yeah. That's 5-6 generations?
Well, if you think about it, if each generation at that time lived to about 30 years old.
Right, yeah.
So 369, that's about 6.
Yo, that's a short lifespan.
Yeah,
man.
30 years old.
That was and the generation would be more 20 years old, right? Because everybody would be having kids at 20.
No, more 12.
Oh, we're you're right.
Talking
as soon as you're shooting live rounds, it's game on. Yeah.
Hi, you're now 11 years old. Now you're a dad of 7. Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. There's I think there's a lot to be discovered about places like that as well. I know there's
even 70% of the ocean is unexplored.
Yeah.
And we've been to space.
Yeah. But Parker and I have talked about the ocean a little bit on this podcast. Yeah, it's
because the ocean is a place of fucking shit.
What's the deepest part of
Challenger Deep?
The Challenger Deep, the deepest part of the Mariana Trench. Yeah, we settled that one.
Yeah, that was episode 2.
That is the farthest depth of the ocean.
Just east of the Philippines, south of Japan.
Yeah. big geography.
Yeah.
Like the craziest part is like the ocean goes
so
deeper.
Much.
Like
It makes me so happy.
the ocean very well could go deeper than that.
Yeah, it could. We just might not
Yeah,
have
we
discovered
just
it.
have no idea.
We just might not know.
Because
Yeah.
we can't get down that far.
What if there's like a whole other ocean?
But
that we
I
don't
think
even
with
know
the
about?
LiDAR and shit that we have now.
Yo, LiDAR is cool as
I
fuck.
think there's a range where it doesn't.
I guess
pick up.
LiDAR wouldn't work for deep sea, right?
No, because there's too many particulates in there with.
Yeah.
Because you have to think
It would
about
get blocked
many
the fuck
water
out.
chunks.
Yeah.
like the water.
If the
and
sun
particles
can't
of
make it
itself,
down there, how
yeah.
could a fucking laser,
Well, the
right?
sun only makes it down like 40 meters.
Yeah, it's
or
not
something
far.
Like that.
It's not far.
Like it's not far at all.
Far too many
Wow.
chunks to render.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
the ocean is a part that like I can do a lot of things, but like deep ocean, unsettling.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Genuinely
Oh, yeah.
unsettling.
Definitely way more unsettling than space is.
Like I've been snorkeling before in like the Caribbean,
Yeah.
and like you're snorkeling out, corals are like 5
Oh,
feet below you.
You're upsetting my stomach. Even I just know where you're going with this. I don't
So,
like it. Man.
I was like swimming along, looking at fish, looking at the corals, and then it was a drop.
Yeah.
Like it was a literal wall, nothing in front of me but ocean.
That makes the hair on my arm
Nothing
stand up,
below.
man. I hate it. I hate
Literally,
it
it was
so
like
much.
I swam over it and I just like hovered there
yeah.
for a second and just like
It
and,
feels like you're
I-
in the fucking void, eh?
dude, I couldn't see.
Yeah.
Like my whole thought was like something's down there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. I can't tell. Cuz like I could see like
Oh.
maybe like
Ocean
I have
cliffs.
no idea how deep this cliff ran. But I was
Du-du-du,
swimming and it was just like
du-du-du-du-du-du.
straight up like going nothing. And it was just this like that was probably the most unsettled I've ever been in the water outside of a time when I was swimming in like the cloudy murky area and I came to a clear patch and made dead eye contact with a barracuda.
Ooh.
Barracuda.
Like that genuinely, in all of my life, that has been the most terrifying experience.
Yeah.
Is making eye contact with a barracuda.
Yo, what does a barracuda look like? I gotta
Terrifying.
Find this
Like a
now.
big piranha, right?
Imagine a mouth that's like 2 feet long, filled with barbed teeth.
Oh damn, that is a
yeah.
scary
So
thing.
barracuda.
Do they kill people?
Yeah.
They're
Whoa.
vicious
And they
animals.
swim at like 40 kilometers an hour, some ridiculous number.
Quick as fuck, boy.
Like,
Wow.
they are terrifying animals.
Interactions with humans.
Like, but just imagine you're like 13 years old, snorkeling in the water, having a good old time, going
Yep.
back to the beach. It's a little murky. You can't see your hand in front of you, type thing.
Barracuda.
And then you just get a clearing of like 12 feet,
Yeah.
and there's just a barracuda sitting there.
Damn, bro.
Like, genuinely, I felt like I jumped out of the water.
I would have pet him.
You would have died.
No, bro.
You would have died immediately.
Yeah. Okay. So barracudas have never eaten humans, but they have bitten them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Still would not want to be bitten
Yeah,
by
you
a barracuda.
don't
No
want that.
barracuda deaths, eh?
No barracuda deaths. Nope.
Reported, at least.
Yeah.
Who
I guess.
knows?
Yeah,
I guess.
reported. Yeah.
Yeah. The you gotta wonder, like, how many of how many people in history died in ways that we don't think people died.
Yeah.
Something like this, it's like in our records, which have been in the
Not
blip that humanity is, an even tinier blip of that, we've been keeping track of this
Yeah.
sort of thing. Like, there's got to be so many awful ways
Oh,
that
like-
people have just gone over the
and
years.
we have no clue.
Like, I like to think about poisonous foods and just
Yeah.
been like, that was straight up trial and error.
Oh, yeah.
Until like not that long ago.
It was
Yeah.
a roll of the dice whether or not you were eating your lunch
Yeah.
or dying.
Yeah, where like, the tribe would be like walking along, peep some new berries, and they'd
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, Eugene, go try those."
Or the other one is like kind of on the topic of food, of like people would like look at things and just be like, I'm gonna eat that.
yeah.
Like a pineapple.
Yeah, I'm
Not the
gonna
most
get in there.
appetizing looking thing
Mhm.
if you take what it looks like.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a
not at
sharp,
all.
spiky, pointy
Yeah.
Mhm.
thing. That's just dangling there.
Yeah.
Someone was
don't
like,
know
I'm
what
gonna
it
cook
is.
that shit for dinner.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? I'm a grab that. I'm gonna drop it, and then I'm gonna peel it apart.
I wonder like what percentage of foods that we know are edible now were like born out of pure starvation. You know, like when they were like,
I could genuinely,
like it's got to be
genuinely
high
see
now.
it like 50%.
It's got to be pretty high. Yeah, I mean, there's no way to like pin that down, but there's no real metric there. But like honestly, you'd be in like, you know, you'd be on some like coastline somewhere. You know, you've been separated from the boys, and you know you're like super starving, and then you see these trees, and there's these brown hairy balls up in the tree, up in the trees, and you're like, yo, that looks like a big berry. Maybe I can have some of that, you know? And you crack it open and try it, and you've never had a coconut before, and you're like 35 years old. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is delicious. I wonder if it's poisonous. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll wait and find out.
There's got to be so many brutal deaths over the years of like,
and like
people
also
just eating toxic things.
On the other hand of that, of like eating toxic things, the drugs factor.
Yeah,
it's like just like imagine how many like myths and stuff like that are purely out of like people eating psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah. Before we move on to
it was
that,
just normal mushrooms.
Real quick though, like the toxic food thing. Another funny thing is that fucking like, not that recently, this fucking kid just like, he moved out of his parents' house, right, and he cooked himself some fucking pasta, and he left it on the counter for 5 days, and then he ate it, and he died that night.
Jesus, that is so bad. Like
that's not that long ago.
like my roommate, one of my roommates, he originated from Brazil, and so their way of eating things completely different than ours.
In Brazil, you said?
Yeah. So we had some ground beef that was in the fridge.
Yeah.
A little too long.
Right.
Like that was gray.
Yeah.
Like,
it
was
ground beef.
gray.
Yeah.
Dave, did you know
And
that ground beef is naturally gray, but they put red dye in it to make it look fresher?
Is that real?
Yeah.
Also, on that fact, did you know that bananas, when they're yellow, are actually rotten? We change them to yellow to make it more appetizing.
Oh, true. I did know this.
A properly ripe banana is green.
Really?
Yes.
And then
we've genetically engineered them.
And then margarine is kind of like an opaque clear.
Yeah.
But we dye it white/yellow.
Cheese Whiz is gray.
Cheese Whiz is gray.
Yeah.
There's so many like little things in like day-to-day life
artificial food
that just straight up
margarine. Margarine is the color of your shower glass.
Dude, literally, it's like an opaque, like kind of like white. Like it looks unnatural.
Oh, I'm gonna find a picture of this.
I've seen margarine like
that's brutal.
Straight up, just normal, natural, like. But that's also one. So, you know when you ever see like a organic margarine? Physically impossible. Canola is a man-made plant.
Right.
It is physically impossible for that to be organic. Why?
Is margarine's canola?
Yeah,
oil.
margarine is made out of canola oil.
Right.
So canola, in and of itself, does not exist. We made that. Huh. So how can that be organic? Waste of money. That's why. Because they can charge it for $12 instead of the normal $8. Like, just by slapping on an organic thing.
Who run the world, girls? Girls. It's the government.
The government. The government's
and
turning
Jeff
the frogs
Bezos.
gay. Oh no, that's the water, right?
Oh shit!
What did the government do? What was the one on Joe Rogan for the government?
It's putting the government's
putting chemicals in the water, making the frogs gay.
Turning the freaking frogs gay. Oh, I love that guy, man.
Oh.
Me too, man.
Yo, he's in for a heavy lawsuit.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
the dog is
millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Over what?
Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook, bro. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you fucked up, and you kind of got to be accountable for something like that.
Yeah, like that's a subject of like Sandy Hook was a travesty.
Mm-hmm.
Like in and of itself, a lot of things came into play that like it could have gone differently, but it didn't. And so it's one of just you leave it at Sandy Hook.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really touch on that subject too in depth.
Just leave it alone, man.
You just back off, call it a day.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's just one of those things. I mean, Alex Jones has never shied away from any topic, but with something like that, it's like you need to be very, very sure of what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you are going to say something as controversial and considered disrespectful about a topic like that, you gotta be 100% right about what you're saying. He wasn't careful enough, and he's paying for it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's the thing where, like, if you ever go over a topic like that, it's almost as if, especially on like a podcast standpoint, which it does take away from part of the podcast aspect, you have to have a script.
Yeah,
you have to have a script of
like that,
like what you can say, what is factual, and then the do nots, the red flags, the stuff that you just straight up avoid.
Yeah, I know Parker and we haven't specifically had the conversation of things we don't talk about, but there are certain, sensitive social issues, different things that, with the state of the internet and what can be put out there, what's permanent, you do have to be genuinely careful with what you say.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, it's easier to just avoid a specific topic, because even though your opinion may align with the collective narrative now, 30 years down the road, when it doesn't, and you're trying to get it
in the same way.
Yeah, when you're trying to get a job and someone digs that up, then you're going to get hit pretty hard for that. And so there are certain things that, I think we just generally don't get too hard into.
Yeah, it's just a no bueno scenario.
Yeah, like, it is just there's no upside.
It's so easy because like even like recently, so that one TikTok that I made that was like kind of going viral.
Yeah, bro.
So I made this TikTok where the audio was like a little music beat, and then it was like LMAO, you're a fucking bot.
Right.
So on that aspect, I just put like on the video, I was like, if your wheels cost half your car, LMAO, you're a fucking bot.
Right.
Just because the main target audience that I was going after was in the car scene. There's these real wheel enthusiasts. Yeah. Where they're so like, you have to have a real wheel. If you have anything else, you're trash.
What percentage of these are on a Civic Si?
Oh, dude, that was the fucking joke you made this morning, bro.
The amount of comments that I had about, like, it was like, my car was $700, my wheels are $400, I failed. And it's like, you're not the guys I'm going after.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me.
You're not that guy.
You're not that guy.
Like my clutch in my car is worth more than your car, and the wheels combined.
Yeah.
Like it's just like the audience I was going after was the guys that have like a $6,000 car.
Yeah.
And they buy $4,000 wheels.
Yeah.
And are like, yeah, man, this is like my car's the coolest. Why? Because it has real wheels.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2012 Honda Civic Si.
Yeah.
It's not that cool. Yeah, some of them done up can be pretty sweet. But
I generally I hear you, but I'm generally a believer in the world of cars. If it's your build and you like it, then whatever, man. You know, it's like sometimes yeah, it's obnoxious, sometimes it's silly, and if they're cocky about it and they're a dickhead, then you earn things like this.
Yeah,
but it's like I was going after like the egotistical pricks that are just
Yeah.
straight up like, yeah, I bought $10,000.
They're like, if you don't have real wheels, you're a fucking faker, man.
Yeah, like your car's trash.
Yeah,
I make over 100 horsepower per cylinder. That's more horsepower than your entire engine, dog. Like, we're a different breed. Like,
you and I are not the same.
Yeah,
like you're a Chihuahua, I'm a Great Dane. Like, that's the level here.
Yeah.
Like, you're more sought after because of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more sought after because of this.
Yeah. You got that whole package.
Yeah.
You got the whole 6 inches, if you know.
So
what I mean.
at least bring us in on what car you're driving, Spencer.
Okay, so out of the 4 cars that are currently in my possession, my babe.
Your flagship model.
The flagship.
My flagship model. You know, the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
It's a 2008 WRX. So, base model. Nothing special about the chassis. Mm-hmm. But it's got the full STI swap in it. So
nice.
Differentials, entire underneath of the car, the drive line, the engine, entire interior.
The CFL football size turbo.
Everything is STI swapped, and then my engine is built.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
I've got big injectors, big turbo. I'm in the 400s to the wheels for power and torque. Like it's a proper unit.
Yeah.
Like I've got a hefty amount of money in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I love the car.
Yeah.
Like it's one that like I'm happy with it where it sits, but I would like it to be better.
Yeah.
And there's little things over like the winter that I'm going to get done to it that are going to kind of put the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
And so that's my baby.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's pretty quick, not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like it gets up and goes pretty fast.
Yeah, and have you messed with the blow off on the turbo so it goes
Dude, every
time you touch the gas?
My blow off valve
yeah.
does pretty well every single turbo noise that you can make.
Nice.
So I can get the
yeah.
or the
nice.
and then my personal favorite is the
yes.
It's the Wombo combo.
Yo,
the Wombo
The
combo.
the combo sound.
Where you get the blow off and then you get the flutter.
Mm-hmm. It's got that Japanese touch to it.
Yeah, it's got the Wu-Tang war whistle, you know, the
yeah.
Oh, what's
like
the
that.
other one?
Yeah, man, that car's fucking sweet, man.
Yeah, like
Nice.
I'm pretty happy with it.
Sweet.
But back to where I was kind of going with it. So the TikTok that I made, it has
word.
like I'm in the 5,000 view mark on it.
All right.
So pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing crazy on the viral status. Like
Are 4,999 of those men?
probably.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I have a sticker on the back of the car that says "Send dudes."
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't
That's
get
what
any
happens.
chicks with that thing.
Yeah, no one ever does.
Yeah.
Some
Like-
people think they will, and then it's
like you'll straight up like invest like
Yeah,
60
girls don't give a
grand into
fuck
a
about
car.
that shit.
You'll be like balls deep into this car, and then you'll be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm gonna pull mad bitches. Take the car out first time. You're gonna get 37 dudes, all of them in their 20s,
nice
and they're
car,
like,
man.
dude, I love your car, man. Dude, this is so sick.
yo,
and it's like,
yo, that was a bang on impression, dude.
yeah,
That
like
was
it's
good.
so like I've gotten it so many times where like I can count on my hand the number of compliments from women that I've got about my car.
Hell yeah.
Sub 5. Like I'm not even at 5 compliments from women. The amount of dudes that compliment my car, 30, 40, 50, 70, 100 plus. Like who knows?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just one of
and
like
the women that complimented your car were all of them mechanics.
no. Actually.
Okay.
I've
okay,
gotten
well that's good.
one.
This
from
is
the
what
side
it's
of
all
the
about,
road.
Did
right
she
here.
ride a motorbike to the gas station?
Dude, any girl that's on a motorbike, instant baddie.
Instant baddie,
Instant
bro. Yeah, I
baddie.
saw
If they-
one today. I was
Dude,
like,
if they
damn,
have-
that's a
if they have
woman on a
tattoos
motorbike.
as well,
That's cool.
I will fold like a cheap suit.
Yeah.
Like they could walk up to me and
Like
be
a
like,
cheap
like,
suit.
dude.
Oh,
Like if a
dude.
girl on a motorbike like pulled up and is tatted out, like
Yeah.
pulls up, rips off the helmet, or doesn't even rip off the helmet, and just
Yeah.
like tells
like
me to
out
do
of the
something.
movie, like throws the hair a
dude,
little.
dude, like she could ask me to like
Mhm.
spit shiner wheels. I'll do it.
Yes, ma'am.
I am
Yes,
like
goddess.
that is like
Yeah.
no, it's not like a kink, but that's just like
No,
my crux.
it's okay.
It-
We don't
it's-
kink
it's
shame
just-
here
yeah,
on
it's just-
HMHC.
It's fine, man.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like it's something about it that just like
See,
hits
the
different.
the only thing with that is like some of those they kind of burn diesel a little, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
Dykes on
I
bikes,
feel
you're
that.
trying to say?
you know, they
Well,
ki-
like,
they
it's-
ki- they're kind of like
I was
those
a little-
high
I
torque
was a-
style
yeah,
gals.
I was a
you know?
little
Yeah.
broad in the like any girl on a
Any-
bike scenario.
yeah.
You know, it's got to fit the type. Like athletic, can actually hold up and pick up the bike.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing about bikes. is
Right,
that,
as
like,
long as you
if
can
if I
actually-
see
yeah.
a 5'2" chick on like a 1,000-liter bike,
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust her.
Yeah, she's got
Why?
that.
Because if that bike's tipping over,
Ducati 599.
oh, dude, like, if a girl that's like 5'2", maybe like 90 pounds soaking wet, she is not lifting a 400-pound bike.
No.
Like, if that thing goes down, she's fucked.
But
Like, she is turning around and going, like, hands out, going like, who's gonna help me?
yeah. Wow. Yeah, that sounded so respectful.
Like, but it's one of like it happens though. Like the amount of videos on Facebook and stuff like that, like the amount of videos.
That's
on
the
Facebook.
TikTok clip right there.
Fuck, dude. Damn it! I went viral, but for the wrong reason. What did it all cost?
Somebody help me.
It's like, you have to admit that is so on point.
Oh my
though.
gosh,
Cause
man.
like how many?
Do not use gendered language.
But yeah,
Unbelievable.
not the route I wanted to take.
It's
but,
all good.
But so that TikTok that I made
Yeah.
apparently stirred up a lot of stuff in the car community.
Oh yeah.
Of like, well, not like big car community, but like local-ish.
Right.
Because there's a couple of Facebook groups that apparently my TikTok has been around. And it's a bunch of
Is it the Wheelheads? Is it?
I'm not sure if it's made it on the Wheelheads one.
Okay.
But basically, it's just everyone like kind of like not overly shitting on me, but just being like, wow, this guy's dissing real wheels, yada, yada, yada. Like, his build is just, like, jankily thrown together, this, that, the other thing. And I'm like, genuinely, the moment I heard that it was on Facebook groups, I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
Like, that was
This is
peak
what it's all
form.
about.
I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I've hit my mark. Perfect. People are pissed. People are riled up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually had a DM. Some dude, not even like following me, found me, hopped in my DM
From like Poland.
And, oh no, like from Edmonton.
Oh, okay. So you're getting like mostly local views.
Yeah. So most of my stuff is local on like a lot of it, but I'll read off his message here.
Yeah, let's expose this guy.
He sent it
What's
to me
his
on,
name?
His Instagram tag is MAEN1X.
Do you have an address for us?
No, I do not. And no, unfortunately, I do not have a social insurance number.
Yeah.
But all he did, so this was at Monday, this Monday, 3:29 p.m., so just getting out of work.
Yeah.
I get hit with the, why the fuck you riding on reps? And I was like,
dude, the car community makes me fucking laugh sometimes,
dude,
bro.
the car
The
community
level of elitism that can show up.
It's
is
like
pretty
huge
hilarious.
in the car community.
Yeah,
Like,
because it's all dudes.
Yeah.
There's so much testosterone.
and it's one of you're competing against everybody.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is, like, at shows, yes, there are like the specific ones, but everybody's going after the best in show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, best in show, judge's choice, all that. Like, that's the all time. Like, you've made a clean car.
Yeah.
And this is not like the clean car that your buddy is like, yeah, man, you got a clean car. This is like
Everyone there is like
150 plus people are like, damn, dude, that is clean.
whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are people that have $80,000 into the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like looking at it and going, damn, he's at like 150K in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, different level.
Yeah.
But it's also one of like, those are the guys that have been in the game for 10 years. Like, this car has been 7 years old in build.
Yeah.
And like, they've just like been putting at it, working at it, doing this, doing
And
that.
it's got 70 kilometers on it.
Yeah, and it's got like next to no kilometers because it just drives the shows.
It just drives off the trailer into the stall.
Which, don't get me wrong, I do like that, but I'm still one of those guys that like, I would drive the crap out of the car. Doesn't matter how much I put into it. That thing's getting driven.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, guys, we do got to wrap up real quick. We don't have the luxury of ending whenever because we got 5 minutes on the camera. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Word, man. I think for you're talking about driving the car, as much as possible. I think it kind of depends on your intentions with that vehicle, because I do have a buddy of mine who got a pretty good deal on a 2005 BMW M3.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's very clean, 60,000 kilometers ish.
Oh, that's low.
Absolute steal. And because it's so low and it's in pristine shape, the paint is great, everything runs well on it, custom exhaust, it's super tight, but he doesn't really drive it because he wants that as a collector's vehicle, and for down the road,
which is perfectly
it's gonna appreciate, right?
He wants the appreciation on it, and so he's gonna hold on to that low mileage. Now, if you're already jacked up on kilometers, then I get it, but it depends on what kind of build you have as well.
Yeah, like it's the purpose of what you're building the car for. If you're building a car to have a fun weekend car, like nothing wrong with it sitting in the garage Monday through Friday. Nothing wrong with that. Why? Because I know for a fact the instant that thing gets on the road on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, that thing is getting driven. Yeah. And that's what it was built for. The issue that I have is the cars that are high kilometers have all these like power mods done to them and only get driven to the show, but not even drive to the show. Driven on the trailer. They get started up on the trailer, pulled off the trailer, parked up, and then they're shut off. That's the only amount of kilometers that they get. That's my biggest issue with it. But the car scene is definitely one of, there's a saying that was like, respect all builds. Yeah. We're saying out there, disrespect all builds, your build's trash. Doesn't matter what it is, it's trash.
He's like, one of them.
Like why?
He's one of them.
because
he is a car bro.
I used to be the guy that was like, you know what? Every car deserves some like, premise. Yeah. But at this point, even my own car, it's trash.
You've been in the game too long.
And I haven't even been in the game that long. I've just gotten the perspective of it. I've seen the whole 9 yards of the entire scenario. Is you'll see this perspective of wheels, coils, that's a build. That's not a fucking build. That's mods on your car. Right. A build requires it to be like you're changing how the car functions. Yeah, slamming it on its nuts does change how the car functions. That's on a usability standpoint. Yeah. Not on how it operates. You put in a big engine that didn't even come in the car. Yeah. That's a build. Why? Because you had to make custom stuff.
You change it from rear wheel to all wheel.
All wheel, front wheel to all wheel, front to rear. Yeah. Like something like that. That's a build.
Yo, fellas, we're at 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 40 seconds.
That's Word. Let's wrap it up right now.
Let's call it a wrap there. Thank you so much for joining us on
it's my pleasure.
Episode.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Spencer. It was a good episode, man. We had some good conversation there.
Yeah. Word. Well, thanks for joining, man.
Dude, it's my pleasure. It's been an honor and a half.
Hell yeah. All right, we'll see you all probably next week.
Hell yeah. Thanks for watching if you did.
Bye all.
See ya.
Peace.